Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys, I got a list of players here. I've been thinking about these guys a lot because, well, their ADP is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. These guys are some of the biggest steals in the draft, and based on where they're going, they've got massive league-winning upside. And I know that term league winner gets thrown around a lot, but these guys are literal, actual league winners. Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys are drafting these guys. So I'm going to start right here with the first player on my list, and that's Josh Jacobs. Now, this is a guy who's going in like round 6 a lot of times in underdog drafts, and that's just amazing to me. I mean, we've seen what kind of upside this guy can provide. 2 years ago, when he was the running back 3 in PPR formats and the running back 1 in standard formats, this dude went absolutely ballistic. His rushing ability is truly insane when he's given the right opportunity share. And now he's in by far and away a better offense than he's ever been in. I mean, those Raiders offenses that he was in were never good. He single-handedly made the offense decent 2 years ago, and he didn't even really have that good of an offensive line or that good of an offense around him. Now he's in an absolutely loaded offense. They just paid him a ton of money. We know that Packers running backs are very efficient. The offensive line opens up holes for these running backs. We saw it in the years with Aaron Jones. Obviously, Aaron Jones is one of the better running backs in the game, and that's why he was so efficient. But Josh Jacobs is a darn good running back in his own right, and he's got more of that workhorse build. So I think that the fact that he's a bigger back will open up opportunities for him as far as having way more volume than Aaron Jones ever had, because they never really gave Aaron Jones the volume that he needed, and we all know how good he would have been in the Packers offense had he had the volume. Josh Jacobs is going to get that volume because, well, he's a bigger back. He's a 225-pound back. He's got more of that workhorse build. They're going to give him workhorse volume. If this dude is getting 20-plus carries a game in this offense, and I think there's a chance that that happens, this dude's going to freaking explode. The sky is the limit. He has the upside to be the running back 1 in fantasy, and he's going in round 6. This dude's a massive smash deal, potential to be the biggest steal in the draft. Next player on my list is going to be Brandon Cooks. Now, this is a guy who last year had 9 touchdowns. He obviously was second fiddle to CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb's not even happy with his contract right now. I mean, we don't even know that CeeDee Lamb is going to show up for training camp. The dude might hold out. If this happens, Brandon Cooks becomes the number 1 wide receiver in a very, very pass-heavy offense that plays at a very fast pace. We know that the Cowboys are one of the most pass-happy offenses in the NFL. Last year, after the Rams, they were the most pass-happy team in the NFL as far as percentage of plays that they pass the ball on, right? They pass the ball the second most times out of every team in the NFL besides the Rams, right? So this is a guy who's going to be in a very pass-happy offense. We know that he's an electric talent. He has great downfield speed. We know that Dak Prescott loves to air the ball out. So even if CeeDee Lamb plays, even if he shows up for training camp, Brandon Cooks is going to, at worst, the absolute worst-case scenario, if he stays healthy, match his ADP. Odds are he's going to smash his ADP even with CeeDee Lamb, and he has the upside to blow it out of the water if CeeDee Lamb holds out and isn't happy with his contract and maybe misses a few games or shows up late and isn't really 100%. Because we know that if players don't show up for training camp, they really don't play at the same level than if they've really been training, right? So, there's a chance that CeeDee Lamb might not be as good if he decides to step on the field at the last second. And if that happens, Brandon Cooks' opportunity share is going to go up. This dude's a massive steal. Next player on my list is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, this is a guy who, if you're looking at underdog drafts, he's going, pretty much early second round in most scenarios, sometimes slipping to the middle of the second round. He's obviously a massive steal for your everyday redraft leagues because he's going in round 4. That's an absolute joke. Obviously, people in these ESPN leagues have no idea what they're doing when it comes to their drafting. But in underdog drafts, even in underdog drafts where he's going at the beginning of round 2, I still think he's a steal. I mean, because how do you think this offense is going to operate, right? We have a healthy Kyler Murray coming in who's one of the best passers in the game. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. And we have Marvin Harrison Jr. as the clear-cut number 1 target. Who's the next receiver on this squad? It's either Zay Jones or Greg Dortch, right? Zay Jones or Greg Dortch. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to get 12 freaking targets a game. And obviously, the next target as far as just overall pass catchers is Trey McBride. But, as far as wide receivers, he really has no target share competition. And so this dude's going to come out. He's going to get 12 targets a game. We know that he has the opportunity to be the next Justin Jefferson. He's a generational talent. I don't see any way that this dude doesn't outperform his ADP, even going at the beginning of the second round. The target share is going to be so ridiculous. The talent level, the entire offense is going to run through him. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to explode. Next player on my list is going to be Cooper Kupp. Now, this is a guy who obviously last year disappointed. If you took him in the first round, he was a huge detriment to your team because he wasn't able to stay healthy. He wasn't on the field. He was banged up from week one. But look, Cooper Kupp is healthy now. Okay, and this is still one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL. Everyone that thinks that Puka Nacua is just going to come out and absolutely smash Cooper Kupp as far as fantasy production, you're wrong. I mean, the difference in ADP between these guys is absolutely ridiculous. Now, will Puka Nacua have more fantasy points at the end of the year than Cooper Kupp? Probably. I want to say it's more likely than not, but it's not even a guarantee. So considering the fact that Cooper Kupp still technically has a chance to have more fantasy points this year than Puka Nacua, he's going in the middle of round 3, sometimes round 4 of underdog drafts. And Puka Nacua is a consensus round 1 pick. It makes sense to me to fade Puka Nacua in round 1, which I've been doing, and just go ahead and draft Cooper Kupp. I'm not saying don't mix in your Puka Nacua shares. You certainly can do that. But Cooper Kupp is by far and away the better value, considering the fact that he's still just as good, if not better, of a wide receiver than Puka Nacua. If this dude stays healthy, he could outperform him as far as total fantasy output, and he's going in round 3. Just fade Puka and draft Cooper Kupp. Next player on my list is going to be James Conner. Now, this guy is on an offense that I think is going to outperform expectations. I just talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. We know that we have Trey McBride in the offense. We have Kyler Murray starting the season healthy. That's what's really key, He's starting the season healthy. We've got an offense that is probably going to have to be playing from behind a lot. And normally that would be a problem for running backs, but James Conner has shown to be a back that catches a lot more passes than he ever has over the past few seasons, right? He's been used a lot more as a pass-catching running back than he ever has in his career, so I don't think he's going to get scripted out of games, right? And, I still think they're going to run him heavily, right? Because you can't pass the ball on every play. I do think that they're going to be a pass-heavy offense because of playing from behind, but this dude's still going to get his volume. I don't think that Trey Benson is necessarily going to cut into his workload unless he gets hurt. If he gets hurt, it might be a little bit of a different story. Trey Benson could come in and, work his way into the offense. If he impresses a lot, then it might be more of a split opportunity share by the time James Conner comes back. We do know that he's a little bit risky when it comes to injuries, but we also know that injuries are very hard to predict. So I'm not going to predict injuries here. That's never helped in the past. Do not predict injuries. This guy, if he stays healthy, and odds are technically he will, because more players stay healthy than get hurt, even though it doesn't seem like it, James Conner should explode in this offense. I think he's got ridiculous touchdown upside as well, because I think that this offense is going to outperform expectations massively this season. They're really going to outperform expectations. So I love James Conner. I think he's going to explode. All right, guys. These are my 5 players that I think are going to smash their ADP harder than pretty much anyone else. All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning into the video. And, yeah, I will catch you later.